Why have the negotiations taken so long after? It's only been almost a week and a half since everything was in place.
Well, everything wasn't in place, unless we would have closed a week and a half ago. There was such complication, technical complication, not because we had to renegotiate or anything like that. It was just a matter of making all these documents. I'm not kidding you, it must have been a pile this high. We must have made hundreds of signatures today. To make all these documents work together. You have to bear in mind, this was GM selling to Spyker with a loan from the EIB guaranteed by NDO. It was a very complicated transaction. So it took a little bit longer, but in the end, the only thing that matters is that we succeeded.
Why is GM not here today?
Well, they are here, but they're not in this press conference. And there's a reason, because I invited them to come. But they feel very much that this is now a moment for the new Saab to make its presentation and look forward. And I very much subscribe to that view.
Your lack of financing, is that going to be a problem?
What lack of financing?
You still have said that you need some money to. You still
we need
lack
24
money.
million. Well, that's not a lack of financing. We have 24 million still to be paid, and we have described to the media in great detail that we have at least 3 sources to fund that, either through bank loans at Spyker Cars level, or through investors, of which many have come forward to try that are willing to take a stake in the combination, or finally we have the so-called GEM standby facility, which will allow us at all times to generate cash if and when required.
But GM doesn't have a problem with this not being settled?
Well, if they would have, they wouldn't have signed the agreement with us on this basis. No, definitely not.
Swedish television here, when will you start production?
We will now go back to work in Trollhättan, and the critical issue for the restart of production is to get the supplier organization back to business, so to speak. Before I answer your question more precisely, I would say that it is important that also today we exited the liquidation. So that was done in the morning, and then in the afternoon we signed all the agreements. But I would say it will probably take another 3 to 4 weeks until we have full supply of material, so that we can restart production on the level that we're actually anticipating that we need for this.
When will it be possible to actually buy these new cars?
Well, I mean, you can buy our standard 93 today. You won't get delivery until 2 weeks, but yeah, I recommend you go to the dealer as soon as possible.
Victor Muller, you're doing this deal and you're taking on a huge debt burden to be able to pull off this deal. Is that going to be a problem for the business model, that you're taking such a huge debt burden?
You have to bear in mind that this business plan, this business model, has been scrutinized by General Motors, by the European Investment Bank, by NDO, and by Spyker. And all of us, all 4 parties, and of course it was produced in the first place by Saab, all of us, with our various advisors, have come to the conclusion that as you call it, this burden, will be repayable out of the proceeds of the company as it's going forward. So we're very confident that we will be able to service the debt and repay the debt over time, based on this business model. And I've said on many occasions, if the world just keeps on turning and we don't see a W-shaped type of recession, I think we'll be fine.
And if we do,
then we're in deep trouble, like everybody else in car industry.
Could you finally clarify the part that the Antonov family is playing in the deal and financing the deal?
I've made a very clear statement that I am not at liberty to reveal my financial sources. Mr. Antonov has been, I think, on the cover of every single newspaper in Sweden, so I think his statements speak for themselves.
But is it true that
the last third of the
I very much tried to explain that just now by either attracting bank financing at the Spyker Cars level, or get financiers, investors on board in the public companies, Spyker Cars NV, or alternatively we have this GEM standby facility under which we can draw funds to make the payment in 5 months from now. 5 months.
And when do you think the Antonov family could get that into Spyker again?
There's no way that they can make any statement about that, because this is a matter that really doesn't involve Spyker nor Saab. This is a matter which is merely a matter between Mr. Antonov and General Motors.
And his comments that he would like production in Russia, what do you say about that?
Well, he's made the comment that he would very much like to see a factory in Russia, and I would very much like to see a factory of Saab everywhere where we can make money. But clearly, Saab is a Swedish brand. Saabs are being made basically for the world in Trollhättan. And what management has achieved in the past few months is amazing by bringing all the production back to Sweden. The convertibles made in Graz in Austria are now running off the production line in Trollhättan. The 9.5 is going to be built in Trollhättan. So it's going to be a unique situation that all of the Saab product, with the exception of the 9.4X, will actually be made in Sweden. And we want to emphasize that it's one of our unique selling points.
You've never made a cent in profit in the car industry so far. What would you say is the biggest argument that this is going to change now that you've bought Saab?
Well, you have to bear in mind that the massive difference between starting Spyker in the year 2000 and buying Saab, which started basically as a car manufacturer in 1947, is that this is a going concern, which did make profits in the past. I think what's really sad in a way is that Saab has always been described in the media as a company that hasn't made a penny in 20 years. That, as such, is a blatantly not true statement, because nobody knew or knows actually how the loss and profit account of Saab would have looked like if it would have been a standalone company. Many of the subsidiaries, the profitable subsidiaries of Saab, were not consolidated in Saab. They were consolidated in GM. So it was very difficult for Saab to become a profitable company if all of your profit-making subsidiaries were elsewhere and consolidated elsewhere. What we have done in the business plan is we have taken those profitable subsidiaries now into Saab, and it shows that as such the combination is a potentially very profitable entity. So we think that if the company manages to get back to original production levels, we're not predicting 200,000 cars a year. If we go somewhere north of 100,000 cars, Saab will be fine. And that is a production level that was reached less than 2 years ago. And so it's not really rocket science what we're predicting. And that's why I think Saab can become very profitable given 2 to 3 years down the road.
Same question to Jan-Åke Jonsson. Your new owner has never made a cent in the car industry. What makes you think that he can do a better job with Saab?
Well, first of all, I would say Saab as a standalone company is one of the key elements of actually, number one, being able to show exactly how the profitability looked like in the company, and secondly, also operate as a standalone company. Thirdly, we have a number of agreements with General Motors that gives us access to technology, components, powertrains, etc. for a period of time, during which we can actually develop the type of cooperations that fits with Saab and the type of vehicles, the type of brand that we're trying to develop. And I can go on and on and on. And if you put all this into perspective, you know, we have a business plan that we will deliver, a business plan that generates profitability on a standalone basis. We now have agreement on the funding for the business plan, and when you have those components, you know, I see no reason why we're not going to be able to execute the plan, meaning that we'll make money.
The EIB is lending you 400 million euros, and you're supposed to come up with the same amount. How?
Well, first of all, I would say that what the EIB is actually loaning us is for a number of environmental and safety-oriented projects, the development and the investment cost for that, of which they fund 50%. The other 50% will be generated out of the business. It's not like we are not generating a positive cash flow that we can invest into development projects. And when you look over the 3 to 4 year period that this funding is in place, 50% is coming from our business and 50% from the EIB facility.